Happy Monday, Mets fans. A not so happy Monday, though, after the Mets lose 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia. You're watching Mets Daily. Make sure you subscribe, smash that thumbs up, become a Mets Daily Insider. We dropped our first exclusive members-only video on Saturday, so check that out. Click join below. For just $5 a month, you can become a member. I'm Jake Brown, at Jake Brown Radio, on all social media, at Mets Daily Show on X. Let's get right to it. We got a busy Monday here in Mets world. A ton of roster moves were made. We're going to get into it all. Let's just react first to what we just witnessed. And the Mets got blown out twice, and Saturday gave you a glimmer of hope of, hey, remember who this team is? Not the team that lost 7 in a row, the team that had the best record in baseball 10 days ago. Back-to-back homers. Soto with 2 homers. Everything that went right on Saturday quickly got derailed on Sunday. Wake up. This team is better than this. This is not a team that has lost 8 or 9. This is a team that is still over 500, that is still in a playoff spot. They may not lead the division as they're 1 game back of the Phillies, but it's time to wake up. It's time for these players to realize, hey, we're a good team. What are we doing? And it's going to take some roster moves. It's 100%, like we talk about nonstop, going to take a very active trade deadline from David Stearns. It's going to take the right roster additions, which they've made a few today that we'll get into. But this is not the Mets we know and love. This is not the team that we loved watching for the first 2+ months of the season. This isn't them. This is a disguised product that we're watching the last 8 to 10 days. You're better than this. So hit better, pitch better. The pitching has sucked. The lineup has sucked. The bottom of the order is automatic outs. So something's got to give here. This team's got to get it back going. And maybe it takes coming home where you've been successful this season at Citi Field, to get this ship righted. 4 against the Braves. Maybe that'll do it. You got to beat the Braves this time. Then you go to Pittsburgh for 3 games. Maybe this week, beating the Braves at home and then winning in Pittsburgh can get you going. But something's got to give here. Unacceptable over the weekend, getting pounded in the 2 games I was at. Didn't get treated too badly. I got some boos and some F the Mets. And, otherwise, I had a good time. But, man, it's not good getting your team pounded like that. And it's incredibly frustrating to watch what this team's done the last week. We got Saturday, we're reminded, hey, this is who we think they should be. This is the lineup. This is the team that we love. And then Sunday, they send you back to reality on Sunday Night Baseball. And David Peterson, his worst outing in a couple of years. He hadn't given up 5 runs since 2023. So that was not the David Peterson we know. That wasn't the Mets we know. So move on. It's a new day. And, you just got to ride the wave. Speaking of ride the wave, how about the Mets signing Dickie Lovelady? Mets taking a ride on the Dickie Lovelady. And we called it. We told you. If you watch this show every day, we told you last week. I told you the Mets should sign Richard Lovelady, Dick Lovelady. He actually likes to be called Dickie. That's his nickname, is Dickie. So he wants to be referred as Dickie. So when you saw the Mets tweet this graphic here, you're like, what? Dickie Lovelady, what? But that's his name. That's what they call him. So Dickie Lovelady is on the Major League roster. He has been signed to a Major League deal, and he's active tonight when the Mets take on the Braves. Spencer Schwellenbach versus Paul Blackburn. Not the most favorable matchup, but hopefully the Mets bats could come alive and maybe Dickie Lovelady makes an appearance. You had Grimace at OMG last year, turned the Mets season around with Iglesias, obviously. Maybe it's Dickie. Maybe it's not R.A. Dickie, but it's Dickie Lovelady turning around. By the way, wearing number 47. Not the most exciting number. Actually, 57, excuse me. Not number 69. I know we were all hoping Dickie Lovelady was going to be 69, but he will be number 57 for the Mets. And, a lot of moves. Let's go through them. They signed him. We told you that was going to happen. Good move. 1.5 ERA in the minors. He was fantastic this season. So they're going to give him a shot. Let's see what he's got. They could use a lefty. Listen, this weekend you saw the likes of Tyler Zuber, who we like him on Twitter, but he hasn't been good in AAA. He gets sent down in this move. You saw Daniel Nunez throw a scoreless inning yesterday. Chris Davinsky pitch. You had a lot of AAA pitchers over the weekend. You're reminded, hey, this team needs reinforcements. So Lovelady's here. Zuber's down. Jankowski is here. Siri transferred to the 60-day IL. And the other big move that surprised me a little bit here, Acuna Matata is no more for now. Luis Angel Acuna has been sent down to AAA. Now, they want to give Acuna more at bats. I think the obvious move was Jared Young, but I guess they like Jared Young being a left-hand hitter and being a part-time DH. So he's staying for now. Maybe Young stays all the way until Winker's back sometime in July. But Young is staying. Mauricio is staying for now because Mark Vientos needs a few more days of rehab in AAA. So Vientos, not today, probably not tomorrow. You might have Vientos Wednesday or Thursday. If not, versus the Pirates in Pittsburgh this weekend. So we'll see if Vientos replaces Mauricio or he replaces Young. My guess it's going to be Mauricio just because they play the same position and they'll keep Beatty for now. But Jankowski is here. Acuna down. Now, I don't love this because I think Acuna's a good end of the roster player to have. But it's clear his bat just wasn't there. He wasn't hitting enough. He didn't hit for any power this season. I think he's a good player to have, especially later in the year and on a playoff roster as a pinch runner and defensive replacement. But at this point, if you're going to play only once a week and not hitting that one time a week, maybe it does make sense to get him down and get him consistent at bats. He was all over TikTok Live. The guy was live streaming every night, but wasn't really playing every night. If he played, it would be the 8th or 9th inning, not getting at bat, maybe pinch running or just playing defense. So the kid's going to get a shot now in AAA to probably play every day. The other move, not on this graphic, that happened over the weekend, Francisco Alvarez has been sent to AAA. As you guys know, if you're watching this, we don't do a show on the weekend. We get the Mets Daily Insider video on the weekend. So if you want a show on the weekend, click join below. But this was the right move. And I think it's more so his defense was just so off. He was catching on one knee, backhanding balls that he probably just should have protected with his chest protector. He wasn't hitting. He wasn't driving the ball. I know he homered on Saturday, but, the time had come. And the time has come for Luis Torrens to step up offensively now. We know Torrens can play defense and throw guys out, but he hasn't hit. So as much as we like Luis Torrens, Alvarez down to AAA, trying to get his head right, trying to get, his bat right. Mets are going to need to be in the market for a catcher. I talk about it on here nonstop. They've got to think about getting a catcher. A World Championship team doesn't have their franchise catcher in AAA and a backup catcher playing every day and Hayden Sanger getting 1 or 2 starts a week. So Mets got to take this search for a catcher seriously. I told you Freddie Furman last week. We told you with Hector on Friday. Shout out to Hector. He was fantastic on the show. But they got to get a catcher now. I know we all say Hunter Goodman. Again, I don't know why the Rockies would trade such an affordable franchise player like Hunter Goodman right now. But if they do, I'm all in on Hunter Goodman. But Furman seems like he wouldn't cost really anything to get him. So we'll see if he's the guy. But hopefully Alvarez gets right, because we looked at this guy a couple of years ago as, the catcher for a long time to come. And now we look at him as, we don't know. We don't know what he is. We don't know if he's going to be the franchise catcher. We hope, but we're just not sure. Speaking of guys Mets taking a flyer on Dickie Lovelady, giving Jankowski a shot. Should the Mets take a flyer on Heimer Candelario? He was designated for assignment today by the Cincinnati Reds, and the Mets' production has been the worst in the league with Vientos out at third base, and Candelario plays, some third base. Listen, he's been terrible this year. He's only had 80 at-bats, 22 games, 2 homers, 10 RBIs, 113, 198 OBP. So he's been awful in the very brief time. He's a decent player for his career. Last year for the Reds, 20 homers, 56 RBIs, over 112 games, 22 homers, 70 RBIs in 2023. This is a guy that has some pop. I don't see an issue with taking a flyer on him. To me, I would rather I like Candelario more as an option than Brett Beatty. I know you might get mad at that. I'd like to see Candelario. So just a name to monitor. We predicted Dickie Lovelady last week, and it happened. So I guess my next prediction of being Houdini here will be Heimer Candelario will be a Met in the next 3 to 4 days, potentially. We're in the market where trades aren't really happening like that, so you got to monitor the waiver wire, and guys are getting DFA'd here and there, and Candelario is the latest suspect. He was activated off the injured list and then DFA'd. So he is healthy now. So we'll see if he gets a shot. Again, limited time this year, so I judge this year with a grain of salt. But a decent player for his career that hits you 15, 20 homers a year. Could the Mets consider Candelario? We'll see. Again, you're watching Mets Daily. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Click that join button below for $5 a month to become a Mets Daily Insider. Watch party is coming up this week. The series against the Braves, we will have a watch party where me and members will watch the game on YouTube live, and we'll comment back and forth, chat about the game. We'll do a live play-by-play of the game. That'll be fun. So become an insider for that. And subscribe to me at Jake Brown Radio, my YouTube, and follow me at Jake Brown Radio on all socials. Mets Braves tonight, first of a 4-game set. The Mets looking to get back in the winning column against Schwellenbach versus Blackburn. Not the most promising pitching matchup, but got to get a victory. The Mets now a game out, 46-32, but they still are 10 games ahead of the Braves. Hey, if the Braves sweep the Mets again here 4 games, they're a 6-game difference from 14 down to 6. That could change pretty quick. Let us know in the comments. Should the Mets get Candelario? What do you think of the Alvarez move? What do you think of Acuna being demoted? Let us know in the comments. And thanks for watching Mets Daily. Let's go Mets. Let's get right. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Diggy Lovelady, save the season.